Today, I'm excited that we are joined by Gwen Hicks, the Executive Director of Amarillo Angels. So, Gwen, welcome.
Well,
And
thanks,
then,
Rory.
oh, you bet. And I just want to start with give us just a little bit of background on who you are, kind of a little bit of your journey from education up to now being the Executive Director at Amarillo Angels.
Well, I am a career educator. I did a lot of different things during that time period, and when I retired, in education, sometimes you can retire early. When I retired, I just knew that there was something else that I needed to do. I needed to take the gifts and skills and things, the talents, and all the things that have been poured into me, and use it to give back to the community that had been so good to me. And I learned about an organization called Austin Angels that was doing this amazing work in the foster care community, and it made sense to me. My nephew and his wife were fostering to adopt, and I watched what they were doing. It made what they were, and watched the experience that they had, and it can be exhilarating and wonderful and tough and hard and all these things at once. And when I learned about Austin Angels, I thought this is something that our community needs. So I reached out to them. We had a conversation about what it would look like to start something like this in our area, and then agreed upon the fact that we would pilot expansion for them, which seemed like an easier thing to do than starting completely from scratch, although it was kind of that way anyway. And so we did that, and we launched to the public in 2017, and it went really well. Our community is amazing, and they jumped on board, and it's been a wild ride ever since. But at the end of 17, they realized they had something that was scalable. And so they created National Angels, and now there are 20 chapters across the country doing this same work all together. So we're kind of a small little scrappy startup, but we're also part of this bigger organization with some really great resources and things that can help support and move us forward more quickly.
So, I love that story.
Thanks.
The first time I met you, I heard a very similar version of that story. I had just completed 10 days of pretty intense training with Action Coach. We were at a mega marketing event from the Amarillo Chamber.
That's correct.
I was
Yes.
sitting beside you, and you leaned over and you said, I need to get with you.
I did say that. And I'm so glad that we did get together, and
Yeah, so, so,
you
so
have
tell me
it's
just a
been.
little bit. What were the emotions? What was going on for you to say, no, I need that? What was
Mhm.
that for you?
So when we used, well, I've never done anything like this before. I've done a lot of things, but I had a lot of skill set coming into starting Amarillo Angels, but we grew very slowly at first, and then it just kind of took off. And I realized that we had a model. I always say that we were on high center, and if you're a farmer ranch person, you kind of know what that means. We were stuck, and everything in the organization originally went through me, because I was really the only person in the organization besides some
Mhm.
sweet friends who agreed to be on my board. And we had created something that wasn't working any longer. So we needed some help to take it down to the foundational level and build it back up. I've heard people say what got us here is not what's going to get us where we want to go. And
Yeah.
so that's the point we're at. And it was a pain point. I mean, I was drowning a little bit, and we had hired a couple of staff members to do case management. And so, but yet every single process, every single system, everything was going through me at that point in time. And it was overwhelming. And I knew if the organization was going to survive, or if I was going to survive, I needed some help. So you were a godsend at that mega market.
Yeah. So as we started our relationship with you, one of the things that we kind of coined was that um, we needed to move you from being the funnel to being the air traffic controller.
That's correct. That's
And so
correct.
you were that funnel. You were the choke point at the bottom of the funnel where everything came through
Exactly.
you. And we said,
Mhm.
no, we really need you to be in air traffic control.
That's
So,
right. That's right.
what about that image resonated with you? Because you made some pretty big changes, both organizationally and personally, kind of
Yes.
with that thing in mind. So,
Well, I think it was because it was so real. And I knew that from an organizational level, things had to change. And it just was a great, I'm a very visual person. So it was a great like word picture for me to be able to say, everything can't go through me. It has to, we have
Right.
to start spreading it out. But that was going to take some time. It was going to take a lot of changes. And I was so grateful for Action Coach, you guys at Action Coach, to be able to walk me through that. I felt like that was such a great model. You weren't telling me what to do. You were allowing me, you were just like a coach of athletics, you were teaching me fundamentals of running business. I've never run a business. So, and this was becoming a business.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't just something in my heart that I wanted to do to help kids and children and families, which it was, but now we were needing more. And so you taught me the fundamentals. You taught me, literally how to hold the bat and all the things about marketing and things that we just didn't have a lot of stuff going on with. And so we saw great results from that. And we've had incredible changes in the time since we started working with you guys. It's been amazing.
Yeah. So I know that we've been at events, we've been in meetings where you've kind of introduced us as this is my business coach.
That's right.
And so as you say that, I know there are times where you get different reactions to that, especially being an executive director of a nonprofit going,
Exactly.
why do you have a business coach, or why do you need a business coach? So
Mhm.
how do you answer that question?
Well, it's really easy. In fact, I had a conversation with a friend of mine who's he's kind of where I was a few years ago, where we were a few years ago with Amarillo Angels. He's stuck. He's the funnel. And
Right.
I had a conversation with him about the changes and the difference that it made. He has a heart and a passion for the work. He doesn't have business experience. And to grow that amazing organization that he's got already, but to be even more and to release some pressure from him. I mean, I was just like, this will change your life. You have to consider this. It's such a great thing. And it has made all the difference in where we are in Amarillo Angels right now. It's just incredible. So yeah, I just had that the other day. He was like, why did you do that? I was like, well, this is why. We
Yeah.
were stuck. We're right where you were. And it helped move us off that high center and moving forward again.
So one of the things that I know I shared at Mega Market was that, we see, you know, absolutely a calling to be working with for-profit businesses,
Mm-hmm.
making a difference, they had a set of hopes and dreams that they had when they started their business.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes they get, 3, 5 years in, they get a little disillusioned. They're like, I'm never going to achieve that. I'm not going to hit those marks. But so we absolutely want to pour into them, but we also know, and we challenge every one of the for-profit businesses that we work with to say you ought to be giving back.
Yeah.
And if not out of every dollar that you make, at least every dollar that we help you make,
Mm-hmm.
you ought to find a nonprofit. You ought to invest in them, because we think that when the community gets better, everybody gets better.
That's exactly right.
And
Absolutely.
so
And
for
we
you,
and we thank you for that, because several of your clients are supporters of ours, and we're very grateful for that.
well, you're quite welcome. But as you think about your hopes and dreams that you had for Amarillo Angels when you started, when you contacted Austin Angels and said, you know, can I have a piece of that? Can I try that in Amarillo? Kind of what were your hopes and dreams or aspirations, and then where are you on that journey for Amarillo Angels?
Well, I think that I've always been about kids and wanting to help kids, children. I think that they are really and truly such a precious commodity. And part of my journey in education was I was a school counselor, and I worked with a lot of children in foster care. And so I knew that their journey was tough, but I didn't know exactly how tough it was. I think I grew to learn that over the years. And I wanted to make a difference in the lives of kiddos and families that were going through this process, because it can be, again, the best worst thing ever is how one of the parents describes it. It is really hard, and the system can be challenging to navigate. And if we can do something to help make that journey for them better and easier and more successful, for everyone in that family unit, for every single child who finds himself experiencing foster care by absolutely no fault of their own, then I wanted to try to do that. I think when my heart got ahead of my brain, and it grew so quickly that it just took a big jump, and we were in the midst of it, and I just realized I had some skills that I needed to improve on, and some things that needed to change, and so it's just. But my hope, our hope, and our dream is that we serve the top of the Texas Panhandle all the way down through Lubbock, the Department of Family and Protective Services Region 1. And my hope and my dream, our big, hairy, audacious goal, our BHAG, as it's been
Yeah.
called, is that we want to make sure every single child, youth, and family in that area have the support that they need to be able to continue on their journey and to be successful. And especially for the kids and the children and the youth, we want them to be able to achieve their dreams and reach their fullest potential. And that's the driving force behind what we're doing.
Yeah, and I see it, I feel it. We support. We're on our second Love Box family, but tell us a little bit about that outreach and things that you do for not just the kids, right? Which is absolutely the core of what you do, but
Right.
support for the families that are in that foster care as well. Tell us a little bit about the Love Box program.
So there are two programs with Amarillo Angels, National Angels. One is the Love Box program, and one is the Dare to Dream mentoring program. And so the Love Box program was designed to support an entire foster family unit. Imagine it's just like you're adopting a family, and you walk alongside them. The reason that's important is because the one thing that foster families say that they need to keep their doors open and keep children in their homes is they need more support. And that's the reason that half of them will close within the first year. And so that's what they need. I may not be called to do that amazing work, and you may not, Rory, but we can all do something to make a difference in the life of a child. And so if they need support, then that's what we want to do. So a Love Box group is just a group of people, or an individual, or a business, or a small group, whatever, that says, I will walk alongside a family that's fostering for a year, and they just support and encourage. They may take them a few thoughtful needed items, but that's not what it's about. It's about the relationship. It's about building a relationship and loving on them and giving that extra layer of support that they say they so desperately need. And we know that when that happens, kiddos stay in place longer. And the average number of times a kiddo in foster care moves is 7 times in 2 years. And so if we can keep them in place, the traumatized brain can begin to heal itself. They become less traumatized, and their educational outcomes are better. Every time a kiddo moves, they go backwards in their educational attainment 4 to 6 months. That's why only about half graduate from high school. And they can all go to college in the state of Texas, tuition free at any state school. Some schools completely free, but only 3% take advantage of it. And of the 97% who don't, after the age of 18 and that next year, but between the time they turn 18 and the time they turn 19, 2/3 of those youth are going to be homeless, incarcerated, trafficked, or dead. And so that's why we have the Dare to Dream mentoring program. It starts at age 11. It's a one-on-one mentoring. It's bi-monthly, and it's to help them prepare to make those critical decisions and make that transition into independent living after they turn 18, whether that's in a supervised setting or on their own. And so the two programs together are just beautiful. We also host some events that go along with those two programs, but it's beautiful work. And it's our legal name is Transformations by Amarillo Angel, and it really is transformational work. And so, yeah, I get real excited. Sorry, Rory.
No, that's phenomenal.
I'm passionate.
I still remember the first time I heard those stats. They kind of seared into me, right? Just in 2 years that you change homes 7 times, right? That only 3% take advantage of the higher education, but in most cases that's because they're fighting that other problem that you described, that 2/3 of them are homeless or incarcerated or.
Yeah, and if you look at the population as a whole, in our area, nationwide, there's about 400,000 kiddos in foster care. In our area, that Region 1, DFPS Region 1, the Panhandle and the South Plains, that last year there were 2,000 kiddos from our area that were experiencing foster care. So that's 2,000 kiddos who are facing that. And, the things that our communities care so much about, education, sex trafficking, 60% of rescued victims of sex trafficking have spent time in foster care, mental health issues, teenage pregnancy, all the things we care so deeply about. These kids are subpopulations of that. And it is just no fault of their own. And so we want to do everything we can to even that playing field for them.
Amen. So one of the things that I know is that you do have deep passion. You care a lot. You want to keep pouring in. So how do you, or what have you done over the last couple of years to make sure that it's probably not balanced, but have you better integrated your life of caring for these foster kids that are so precious to you, but then you've got children, you've got grandchildren. So what have you done, or how are you managing that, integrating those two lives together?
I think one of the things that struck me most when we started coaching, receiving coaching from you guys, is that that was a priority. And I like to work. I enjoy working. I enjoy what I do. I'm passionate about it. But there was a complete and total, I was completely out of balance. And it took some time to get the organization to the point where I had key people in place to do some work so that I could take advantage of that. So for the first time this summer, since I started this in 2017, we were able to take a 2-week vacation, and I was really off. And we went on a Scandinavian cruise with some sweet family members, and it was so refreshing and so enjoyable. And so I really am trying hard to manage to keep some work-life balance in place. It is hard, but I will tell you the really cool thing that happened during that 2 weeks that I was really off. The board stepped in. We had changed the complete configuration of our board from just advisory to a working board, and we've set up a system of committees. And you guys walked us through all of that and did some help do some planning with our board and have done some training with our board as well. But we were able to, because I was gone, because I was actually out of the picture, a couple of key players that weren't quite confident in their roles really became confident during that time, because I was always there to be the backup. And it is amazing to see the transformation in them, because I trusted them, and we had them trained up enough, and they were able to take that role and move forward. And they are just like blossoming, and they're like butterflies busting out of that chrysalis, and it's just so cool to watch. And so it's really neat. It was hard for me to change my mindset of I was raised in a very financially conservative home. I was an educator. There's no money, not a lot of money there. And so I had to really work hard to know that you can't reach that big, hairy, audacious goal without expansion. And that means people, which means more money, which means you have to raise more money. So it's a cycle that we talk about. So
yeah, absolutely. So I would go back to the name of the organization, and Transformation by Amarillo Angels, and what you described, not only for you, but also for your staff, as well as the board, was transformational.
It has been, absolutely. And we're so grateful for your partnership in that, because you were key, absolutely key to make to that whole thing happening, that whole transformation occurring and working. It's not just that we did it. It's working. It's working well.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you did the work, and the board, right? I mean, you guys are phenomenal.
Thank you.
It's fun to be a coach when the player listens and then, listens and then pulls off the play, right? So that's phenomenal.
It's pretty fun when you have the coach to help you with those skills, and it works too. So it's fun on both sides.
All right. So I'm going to go into a quick section just called Simple Insight. I love simple. So super quick, 30-second answers if you could. But so what are you reading right now, or what book or podcast would you recommend to business owners, or looky there, When Helping Hurts?
Yeah, it's a great book. It's by Steve Corbett and Brian Fickard. I'm not sure how you say his last name. It is a faith-based book, and we are not a faith-based organization, but there are components of my personal faith that are very critical to what I do every day. But it is a fantastic book, and it is really working on talking about how sometimes nonprofits can make things harder for those that they're serving, and unintentionally, with all the good intentions. And we're reading it as a team right now, and it's fantastic. I also love all the podcasts. Craig Groeschel's leadership is great as well. That's one of my
Yep.
favorites.
Fantastic. We are big Craig Groeschel fans. You know that from hanging out with us.
Yes.
But I have heard that about that book from a couple of folks now. So I'm going to have to go pick
Really
that one up
good.
and drive through it. So since you started Amarillo Angels and kind of went off on this new path in 2017, what's one of your biggest learnings that you've had since you started the organization? If you could only pick one.
Taylor Swift has a song that says, "It's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me." So, and I think that I learned that I was the bottleneck and I was the problem. And I also think I learned that it's okay to expand in the nonprofit world. I think that was hard for me. I wanted to prove that I could do it on a dime, which we had to do for several years. And we still are very, very conservative, and we're very frugal. But to grow and serve, you have to expand. And it's been really cool to watch the organization like a butterfly coming out of the chrysalis.
Yeah. So one of the things as leaders, in that role, you always want to have the right answer. You always want to be the one that says definitively, this is the way it is. But sometimes we have to change our minds. So has there been something that you've changed your mind on in the last 12 to 18 months where you were convinced it was one way before, but now you see it a little bit differently?
I do think it is the same thing. I think it is. I love Jesus, and I'm a Christ follower. And I was reading a story in the Bible about these jars of oil, and it was really impactful to me. And there's a widow, and her sons were about to be taken into slavery, and there was a miracle that happened, and these jars of oil were filled up. And the prophet tells her, "Go sell the oil, pay off your debt, and live off the rest." And we don't have debt, thankfully, and I don't want to ever have debt. But it really made me. We have been so blessed financially, but I was holding on to it, and so I just felt like it's time to start pouring out some of that oil, and that those jars are going to get refilled. Those coffers will be refilled, and so that has been really transformational for our organization. We're now up to a staff of 6.5, and about to hire our 7th. And then we'll have 7.5, and hopefully 8, hopefully 8 full-time people in 2024. We are cranking on all gears, and we're serving more kids and families than ever. And things are really, really incredible. The stories we're hearing of the transformations within families and kids is just so, pour out that oil.
Love that. Love the story, one, but also love the way you've applied it. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So just to end, I want to make sure that we give you a chance to talk about how to get in contact with you, but also how you can play a part in the ministry or in the service that you guys do, whether that's through giving, through volunteering, any or all those kind of things. So if you could, I'm going to put your contact information across the bottom, but I would love for you to just kind of connect us into the places that we can give and get in contact with you.
We would absolutely love for you to follow us and like and follow and share on social media. We're on Facebook and Instagram. Facebook, we're at Amarillo TX Angels. And on Instagram, we're just Amarillo Angels. So that's a great jumping on point. Learn more about what we're doing. Go to our website, www.amarilloangels.org. You can learn how to volunteer. Right now, we have the largest number of families on our wait list that we've ever had. And so the need is great for love box groups. We also have the largest number of youth waiting for a mentor. So if you want to volunteer, want to know more about it, there's some things you can look online, see what's going on, look into our programs, fill out a form, talk to our case management staff. Let us get you involved in that. Obviously, I tell the staff all the time, we're a 3-legged milking stool, if that's a thing, really. But we have to have 3 things to to make a difference. And we have to have families who trust us enough to let us pour into their lives and the lives of their children. We have to have volunteers who will walk alongside the families, the kiddos, the youth, and help us do this work because we can't do it on our own. There's just no way. And finally, we have to have those finances and those financial resources. So if however you'd like to get involved, we would be honored. And however you want to join our mission, we'd be so honored and thrilled that you would do that. And we would love to bring you into our fold and let you be an angel with us.
So one other way that you can pour into Amarillo Angels is starting in November 20th through the 28th.
Correct.
Through the Panhandle Gives kind of campaign, you can donate, earmark that specific to Amarillo Angels.
That's through the Amarillo Area Foundation, and any gift given during that time through the proper channels with following what the guidelines of the Amarillo Area Foundation have set up will be amplified. So your donation will go further.
Yeah, and so I will just end with, kind of back to, part of our story is if you are a for-profit business, we want to see you make more money, but part of that is so that you can give back to organizations like Amarillo Angels. So thank you, Gwen. This has been awesome.
Thank you, Rory. Thank you for the opportunity to share, and thank you for the way that you partnered with us and have increased our ability to serve these sweet kiddos and families in our area who are doing this amazing thing and living this amazing life. So we're grateful to you and your team. So you guys are some of our best friends, and we love you.
Thank you.